Want to start over?
Yes. So,
okay,
okay.
Now it's live. I saw the link. Okay.
All right. So now we're live. We thought we were,
okay.
we weren't. So we have a lot to discuss today. But our main topic is Beyonce's Black is King. Is it cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation? I'm joined today by none other than Harrison Wozo, a community leader and activist, aka Oga Harry, aka Harry Baba. He's an all-around good guy. He's somebody that you
want. Thank you.
Welcome so much to the show. Welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I'm glad that we were able to work out the technical difficulties in the beginning, but now let's get the show started. We're happy to be here.
Let's get the show started. And welcome to everyone tuning in tonight from wherever you are. I really appreciate you taking the time out to join us this evening. My name is Obi, and this is The News with Obi, where I discuss all things politics, current affairs happening in our local community and around the world. All right. Welcome, everybody. I see people are coming in. Thank you so much. So let's get into it. So let's start off by describing what Wikipedia says is the difference between cultural appreciation and cultural appropriation. Cultural appreciation, they say, is when someone seeks to understand and learn about another culture in an effort to broaden their perspective and connect with others cross-culturally. Appropriation, on the other hand, is simply taking one aspect of a culture that is not your own and using it to your own personal interests. Now, Beyonce's new visual album was released on July 31st, Black is King. It's been met with a lot of praise and a lot of criticism at the same time. Some noted that Beyonce's last 3 tours were in Europe, Australia, and South America, and she didn't reach Africa. And some are also saying that why would she add this on Disney Plus? Why some people in Africa might not have access to that channel. So, Harry, with all that introduction and all that long talk, let's dive right into it. Black is King. Have you seen this film?
Yes, I've seen Black is King, and I think it's a beautiful work of art. I think Beyonce appreciates African culture. As you can see, if you watch Black is King, you can see how she portrays Africans. She has Africans there. She's talking, it features our clothing, it features our landscape, it features our music, it features everything. So I think she appreciates what we do. She appreciates African. I think she's kind of trying to link that bridge between Africans and African Americans. So it's a work of art. I see nothing wrong with it. I don't know why people get all upset and everything about what Beyonce says and does anytime she does it. We need a lot of more of these stars doing what she does. We don't. So the very few of them that do, we complain. We complain about Oprah, complain about Jay-Z, we complain about this and that. But remember, the same people were complaining about Black Panther when Black Panther came out. Oh yeah, Black Panther, why are they wearing our clothes? Why are they doing? After a little bit while, everybody's calmed down. They're gonna calm down after this. Disney Plus, I understand it's on Disney Plus as well, but remember, you used to watch Game of Thrones and other shows on Netflix and HBO. People couldn't get it. Eventually, they'll get it. So eventually, they'll get the Black King soon. I know it's on Disney Plus now, but they'll get it. And as far as you mentioned, she hasn't been in Africa for some time. The last time she performed was in South Africa. I believe it was for the Global Citizen.
When did she perform in South Africa?
2018, December 2018.
Oh, okay.
For the Global Citizen Festival with Jay-Z.
That's right. Okay.
So, we can't really, I'm trying to, a lot of times when I see people complain and say things, I try to see their point of view. I don't see anything that she's doing negative. Really. I mean, let me give you a quote. Let me give you a quote from the show. And when I was watching Black is King, I was enjoying it, but there's a quote that she gave, that Beyonce gave. This is what she said. "We have always been wonderful.
Right.
I see us reflected in the world's most heavenly things. Black is king. We were beauty before they knew what beauty was. and I mean that's beautiful. So I see her as someone that appreciates our culture, appreciates what we do, appreciates our music, our clothing, our women, our men, everything.
Yeah.
The traditions. You can see the work of art that's in the film as well.
Mm.
I consider this a work of art.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about the influences that she used in the project. She used a lot of Yoruba influences. For people that don't know, Nigeria has three main ethnic groups, and Hari Baba and I are from the Igbo tribe, but you have Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. And with Beyonce, most of her projects, she has used the Orisha Oshun, the river goddess of love. It's a river goddess of beauty. It's a river goddess of music, wealth, and healing, and a protector of children. And if you look at the costumes, if you look at the jewelry, if you look at the hairstyles, she was really trying to portray that. Now, in defense of the people that are saying that she's culture appropriating, based on some of the things that I read from the Washington Post and the New York Times, some of the people that live here or live on the continent were saying that we don't live like that anymore, that we don't practice some of those cultures anymore. What do you have to say to that?
That's art. It's art. It's what is wrong with sometimes you can do a video about a period back in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? You can do a video about Egyptian. Michael Jackson did a video about remember the time it was Egypt. Did anybody complain? You know, you know, so why, like, they're just looking for every little thing that she does. I would say this, that when they blame Beyonce, they have to understand Beyonce did not get up in the morning and create everything. She had consultants from Gambia, from South Africa, from South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, people that she worked with, and they assisted her. You know, everything that you see there, Africans were involved. So if anybody want to hold anybody accountable, go and find the people who Beyonce was working with and go and blame them.
I mean, there's nothing to blame because, people are also saying that it doesn't portray the way we live now, that why is she not showing the fancy cars, the fancy houses, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, let me say this. Is it only Beyonce? Why can't we portray how we do now? Why does everything have to be, anytime Beyonce does something, everybody gets up? So let me say this. We have so many NBA stars, basketball, soccer, movie stars, black, wealthy blacks, and all kinds of fields. What are they doing? What are they doing to try to at least engage Africans, Africanness, and engage our culture? What are they doing? Once Beyonce is at least trying, guess what? A lot of those people are saying, well, look at the way they're harassing Beyonce. I'm not even going to try. We have too many African Americans who are doing absolutely zero in trying to, with their money and wealth and esteem, in trying to bridge that gap between Africans and African Americans, showing a better positive light of Africa. There's nothing wrong with what Beyonce did. People need to get over themselves, go and shoot your own movies, go and do your own things. You have your artists who are there shaking their nash all over the video. Come on. Thank God for Burna Boy. But let's do some of our own. Beyonce, it was a work of art. If you're upset with what she's doing, you get out there and go do your own thing and we'll support you.
Yeah, and then Norma is saying the key phrase is a work of art. And before we wrap this up, if you have wrapped this particular topic up, if you have any comments, please put it in the comment section so we can address it. And I want to read a quote by Tina Knowles, Beyonce's mom, in defense of her daughter. She said that Beyonce was taught from a little girl to lift women up, not to tear them down. She minds her own business, does not criticize anyone, gives her time and money, and dedicates her art to boldly show the royalty and beauty of our heritage and journey. Her work is to change the narrative, to show that we did not start off as slaves, but we were kings and queens before we were slavery.
What is wrong with that? Why? But if you look at it, every time she does something, people get upset. People find a reason to say something.
Yeah,
it's like if Oprah does something now, Oprah, blah, blah, they always find something negative to say about people who are trying. Look at Bill Gates. Anybody that tried to do anything to help or do anything positive, sometimes people just have it in their mind that, anything Beyonce does, I'm going to speak out against it. That's how I see it. And it's been going. It's not the first time people say anything that she does, people speak out against it. I think it was great. I watched it. There was nothing negative about Africans. Yeah. She didn't show us in a bad light. She showed us in very positive. She worked with African artists. There was African, but let me flip this. You know, we have a group of African Americans that call themselves ADOS.
Yes.
African descendants of slaves. They were complaining well, I saw a tweet that someone was actually complaining that why didn't Beyonce use African Americans? Why did she use Africans?
Oh well, I missed that one. I didn't see.
Yeah. So it's like two sides to this. So, why do you use Africans? Okay, you remember when Black Panther, when there was a period of time, I think Samuel Jackson, other people saying, "Oh, they're using too many Africans for some of these movies. They should get African American." There's too much division amongst us.
Yeah,
We're just like the way we hate on each other is too much, and that's why we can't get anywhere sometimes. We're hating on this person, hating on that person, doing something positive. If the person is doing something wrong, okay, I understand. But what is Beyonce? They have to point to something in that black skin. Show me what is the negative portrayal of Africans or Nigerians.
but again, Harry, let's flip this a little bit. So, like you said, this is not the first time Beyonce has been accused of cultural appropriation. Now, there was a time she wore an Indian attire to an Indian wedding. She was invited to the Indian wedding, and when you go to some weddings like that, it's expected that you wear the cultural attire. So people were complaining, why wasn't Beyonce dragged through the mud for wearing an Indian attire? If it was a white woman, they would have dragged her through the mud.
Really?
Yeah. So my point is it okay? Well, I think we know the answer to this, but somebody was saying that, and he might be watching as well, that it's okay for a Oyibo white woman to taigele and braid her hair and do all that kind of stuff. In your mind, is that cultural appropriation?
No, I don't think so. I see nothing wrong with it. See, but the funny thing about it is you will see when Oyibo people somebody showed a video of Oyibo people eating fufu. I'm like, yo, what, we eat their food? Like, why is it like, but it's when Beyonce does, oh my God, oh, what's she doing? You know what I'm saying? We are in American. We're wearing American clothes. We're speaking English. I mean, we're driving cars. We're actually, come on now.
So we almost did not have a say in that, in a way, almost, because when it comes to, for instance, our hair, for the longest time, our hair wasn't accepted, and in most cases, still not accepted. So we had to get perms, we had to get weaves. It's only recently that the natural hair movement started being more accepted. So in a way, we almost did not have a choice. They made us embrace their culture. Now, for the same thing that you were condescending about us for, I don't think it is okay for you to now do the same thing and then make it think it's cool.
I see where you're coming from.
I don't think it's okay for you to wear the same clothes that you laughed at me for wearing to work. No. I don't think it's okay for you to braid your hair when you didn't hire me because I had braids in my hair. Right?
Did you know that in the 60s that we wore afros? That everybody had an afro, natural hair, no problem. Black Power movement. Yeah. Hippies were wearing African attire back then in the 60s. So this has come full circle. For a lot of people, it's brand new, but the appropriation started a long time ago. You know, they took our music. Rock and roll was black music.
It was.
You know, they took that and they appropriated that, and the appropriation happens. I agree, but I don't see Beyonce as, I think she appreciates our culture and the traditions.
Yeah. And honestly, I think anybody that can trace their roots back to any culture, any race, any country.
Beyonce is an African, by the way. That's what I'm
saying. If you can,
Beyonce is an African.
Right. If you can trace your roots back to it, you're not culture appropriating.
Yeah, if they trace her, she could probably trace her roots back to Nigeria. Beyonce is an African woman who was born in America, like a lot of us were, and who is promoting African culture, African tradition. People just have a problem with it. We have used that term black to divide us. When they brought us 1619, when they brought our people over here, they called us black, they called us Negro, they called us colored. We use that term black. We're all Africans. We're all African, either you're African American or Nigerian American. We're all Africans. So Beyonce is a black African woman, and she's not appropriating because she's an African.
Yeah. That's it. Case closed. We're not talking about this particular issue again. Case closed. The woman is within her rights.
Yeah. Yes, she is.
Yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to our African brothers and sisters that like to live in America, but they don't want to understand or choose not to understand the Black American experience and racism in this country. Help me break down the history of racism in this country and briefly explain the difference, the different racism. We have the first degree, third degree, and second degree racism. Let's break that down a little bit. I'll go, Harry.
All right, well, let's talk about, you have to understand that even me from childhood, there's a system that has existed since, I would say, since the Crusades. We can go research the Crusades or the Spanish Inquisitions. White supremacy, the way it worked was they wanted to take over Africa. They wanted to take over the world. But they call themselves Christians, right? And they say, well, in order for you to conquer a people or to make people turn against people, you have to demonize them. So let me use the example. For example, in Germany, Germans, they demonize the Jews, even though if you bring a Jewish person here right now and a German, if you put them together, I wouldn't know which is which. So they demonize them. So when you demonize people, then you see them as less than human beings. When you see them as less than human beings, then you care less about, you have no empathy, you have no compassion towards these people. So the Nazis got away with killing over 6 million Jews before America got involved, which was kind of by accident. Let me use that. Let's go to African continent. So they demonize them, called us savages. This guy Leopold went to the Congo, I believe it was, and killed over 10 million Africans. So when it was time for the folks to fast forward to collect us and bring us to America and enslave our people, we didn't come over as slaves. We came over as Africans. They enslaved us. They demonized us. Oh, these people are this, they're that, So that way they can that way they can justify what they're doing to us. They even use the Bible at some point. So when you are demonizing a whole group of people, right, and you say they're lazy, they're thugs, they're criminals, they're crackheads, and then you emphasize that with using media to emphasize that. So you avoid anything positive, anything progressive about these people, and you keep putting that on the media and making sure, and you keep reiterating that, and then that gets over to our people back home. As white supremacy is a system where, in order for it to succeed, they have to demonize certain different sets of people in order for them to keep that power. So now over in Africa, what they're seeing in the YouTube videos, which there are a lot of, by the way, there are a lot of white conspiracy organizations that actually create these videos that people watch about Bill Gates and stuff. So that's a whole nother show. So now you're seeing all this negative information about African Americans or Black people in America. And meanwhile, on the flip side over here in America, I'm growing up in DC, and then you come back from church and you got Tarzan, and then you're seeing Africans running around with a white man, Tarzan, who is in charge. That stuff goes into your brain. Santa Claus, he's a white man. He knows what you're doing. He can see, basically they're saying God is a white man. So then any little thing, and the way the African Americans were treated in this country, how they pushed them inside ghettos and whatever. So when people are so close together, you have issues and problems. So if there's killing or fighting or stabbing, they amplify it. Remember, Oyibo people kill themselves, but they don't call it white on white. They say Oyibo people, they're the ones shooting up the schools. They don't say white on white crime, right? They say, oh yeah, he was disturbed and he grew up and his father wasn't there, his girlfriend left him, stuff like that. So we're seeing that right here in America, African Americans were exposed to negative images of Africans through Tarzan and other visuals, starving babies, and the things of that, huts, and everything negative. They did not see anything positive. They did not learn anything about African history when they were coming up. On the flip side, Africans themselves, we're so educated though, but we watch these videos or these images, negative images. So when we come to America, we already have a negative image about African Americans or Blacks. In turn, they have a negative image about us. So some they might call African booty snatcher. We will call them akata and all this kind of stuff. So we have to re-educate. We have to relearn. We have to re-educate ourselves. We have to strip ourselves, or just kind of like step back and say, okay, I'm gonna read up and learn more about African Americans. I would advise my African brothers and sisters to go to 1619 Project. Look at that. Right. Eyes on the Prize. Right. Right now, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, they have Black history sections now.
Yeah.
Where African right now, I think right after George Floyd died, it was all over the place. So there's no excuse for you not to learn the Black experience. And for my African American brothers and sisters watching, I would start, you can Google, you can find these things out. But I would start with Henry Louis Gates Jr. He has a special on PBS.
Yeah.
Black, I'm sorry, it's called African Great Civilizations. Africa's Great Civilizations.
Right.
Henry Louis Gates Jr. on PBS.
Yeah.
Watch it. And then for my African brothers and sisters, 1619 Project, Eyes on the Prize. Go on Netflix and Hulu. Watch Roots. I mean, just learn about these people. Let me say this: we're all created in God's image, right? God created all of us. And so you have to understand that people like, let's say the Orange, let me call it the Orange Man, use them as an example. They call themselves Christians, right? Or they call themselves good people, or in order for you, and if God created everybody and you're supposed to love your neighbor, right? But if your neighbor is evil, then you don't have to love him. So they have to demonize you. Okay, so Hispanics, like I keep telling people on Facebook, Hispanics, let me give an example. Hispanics, 99% of them are Christian, right? So how can the Orange Man demonize these people in order to win the election? So he says they're rapists, they're murderers, whatever. So that he keeps repeating that. So his followers believe that Blacks are thugs or criminals. So they believe that. So this negative stuff keeps going generation to generation. That is why when there is no empathy or compassion when an African American man, an unarmed African American boy, girl, or man is killed, there's no empathy or compassion for them, because in your mind, they're not worthy of life. They're less than a human being. They have been dehumanized. Yeah. You don't care about them. You don't care about Black Lives Matter. So that is why I try to talk about on social media.
Yeah, and
it's here. It's all here.
It's all in the mind. And to really tie it into the current times that we're seeing right now, for instance, if you want to understand what, let's say, first-degree racism is, that is really when a Black person is policed differently from a white person. That right there is first-degree racism. Second-degree racism is what we saw happen in the NFL. So pretty much when you see somebody trying to fix a problem and the rest of the people turn their back. So when what's his name, Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, everybody turned their back. That's your second-degree racism. The third-degree racism, on the other hand, and all these racism, if you live in America, if you're Black, you've experienced them, you're currently experiencing them. The third-degree racism, on the other hand, is one of the hardest to get rid of. You know why? Because people at the top don't even know what happens. People at the top, to them, it's just automatic. So we're talking about economically, not letting Black people advance economically, not letting Black people excel or move up in the workplace. That is your third-degree racism. That's your redlining. That's your division of, school systems, because how schools are funded by the housing in the neighborhood. That's your third-degree racism. So if you are an African that migrated to this country, it is important that you understand this and understand why African Americans are fighting and marching for the longest and will continue to do so till things change. You cannot still keep in your mind that, okay, these people are less than. That's the white narrative. That's what they want you to believe. But
a lot of our people believe that.
And unfortunately.
Right?
Unfortunately. So my advice, my little 2 cents is, if you are benefiting, the fact that you even migrated to this country is because of Martin Luther King and the laws that he helped sign in place in 1965. If not for that, you wouldn't be here. So if
a lot of them don't realize that. That's why I said they need to study their history. A lot of them have blocked their mind. But like you mentioned, first-degree racism, for people, that's when they call you the N-word and Karens and stuff like that. That's that open racism. Like, it's the second-degree racism is when people are blocking, or people have what do I say, like a careless attitude.
Right.
For example, if someone is shot, then the second degree racism is like, well, he was resisting, and well, why did he do this? Why did he have his hands down? And that's the second degree racism. So the first one is that one is like Karens and N words and stuff like that. And the third degree, like you said, is more corporate. It's in organizations where sometimes they don't realize that what they're doing is making it difficult for African Americans. But there's one thing that the author John Rice said that his father told him. I want to mention this.
Yes.
He said this: the best way to fight racism, like in all these institutions, everything we talk about, especially third degree racism, is to increase the cost of racist behavior. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay. The best way to fight racism in America and get justice is to increase the cost of racist behavior. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
A simple example. Remember when all these women were calling the police on Black people and eating in a park, trying to get them arrested?
Yeah.
Now, when that whatever city puts in a law to make that illegal, and those Karens are found guilty of a misdemeanor or felony, that is increasing the cost of racism. When an Oyibo person is called a racist, they're embarrassed, they lose their job, whatever, they increase the cost. Now, let's come now to the police. For the past how many years now, they get away with shooting, some of them get away with shooting unarmed Black people, right?
Right.
Then a lot of them get away. There is no cost. So there is no deterrent. There's no persecution. There's no accountability. So it continues to happen until the time when Americans will say, you know what, you cannot do this. Especially, imagine if all these people they were killing were white. They would have increased the cost. All those guys would be doing 20 or 30 years in jail. The killing of unarmed people will stop.
Mm-hmm. Having some consequence for their actions, pretty
much. Exactly. So right now, because of George Floyd, like his daughter said, my daddy is a hero. He is, because I think a lot of organizations now are looking at their policies and diversity and inclusion, et cetera, and just trying to change things around. Like the Karens just calling, because they were getting away with just calling police on people, like George Zimmerman did it, followed somebody and just killed the boy for no reason. So when there's no cost to racism, it continues. So the solution is, I think, African Americans and Black people and people of color, minority, we need to get into that system. We need to infiltrate the justice system, more judges on the bench, more Black African judges, more police, good police, good, more people in the system. That's one way. We got to go out, we got to vote, we got to take up these positions in the corporations, organizations, and look out for one another. That is the only way, my sister.
And I want to read some comments. People are chiming in. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. I've been putting your comments up on the screen, so thank you so much. Uche Evergreen, I hope I'm saying your name right. She did say earlier about the Beyoncé. She said, I said many times, every African American, Caribbean have right to African culture. Leah Afia B says, exactly. Black is a European term, like the concept of race. And Uche Forever, she went on to say, too many ignorant people from both sides, but I think that is changing based on what we just talked about, the different degrees of racism. Norma is saying, don't wait to be educated, educate yourself.
Exactly.
And Uche Forever said again, African Americans are fighting to die for what we are now enjoying as Africans. And this is
I'll tell you what opened my eyes. Eyes on the Prize, I think it's on PBS. That opened my eyes. Like, Eyes on the Prize takes you from, like, I think the beginning of the civil rights movement all the way up into the 70s and what happened. And I mean, there's so much stuff out there we can learn from. We just have to educate ourselves. Africans in America and around the world, you have been bamboozled into hating your own kind. And I want you to think about this, everybody that's watching.
Yeah.
Why? And this is some of the excuses they give. Well, I'm against gays, I'm against abortion. That's fine if you want to be. I mean, it's not really fine, but those are human too. But when the same people hate blacks and Hispanics, why don't you people say, wait a minute?
Right. Right.
Why do they hate blacks? These blacks,
what
the majority of African black people are Christians. The majority of those kids in cages are Christians. Hispanics are Christians.
Exactly.
Why they hate? But you guys don't think about that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about this abortion thing. People say, "Oh, hurry up about abortion." Let's talk, because most of the Africans going to church. Let's talk about abortion for one quick second. Okay, let's say 200. Let's say 200,000. Let's say you say, "Oh God, please, these women, 200,000 women, don't abort these children." The women say, "Okay, fine. We're not going to abort it." Why do people want to abort? Sometimes it's because of poverty. They're going through some hardships. Maybe it's rape or whatever. Let's just assume that they're poor, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, 200,000 women, they don't abort their kids. 200,000 children are born. Now, guess what? These women need money. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to file for unemployment. They're going to file for food stamps. They're going to file for welfare. What happens? You that said that they shouldn't abort the children go and vote against getting the food stamps, getting the welfare, getting their care, getting the social. So when I say things like this, they get confused because they don't realize they've been bamboozled. Yeah. Pro-life. If you are pro-life, then anytime an unarmed black person is killed, it should hurt you, because that child is a Christian child, a child of God, made in God's image. When they kill a black child or any Hispanic child or any child at all, unarmed, that didn't do anything, you should be mad and upset. You that call yourself a pro-life and a Christian should be upset at that. So if you don't, then to me, you're fake.
Yeah.
To me, and I might be biased, but all that conservative evangelical stuff is, that's another story. I know we're going to talk about the famous Dr. Stella too. Yeah.
All right. So, let's switch gears a little bit, and I want to kind of lighten it up a little bit. And when I say lighten, I'm talking about Dr. Stella Immanuel, who was trending last week due to her claims of hydroxychloroquine being a cure for COVID. Your thoughts on that, okay, Harry?
My thoughts are first is this. Anything, let me start with, I'm gonna come to that. Anything that the orange says,
they
go with it. If he said that hydroxychloroquine was bad, all of them would be saying it was bad. They started with 5G, blah, 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 blah. Then they went to coronavirus as a hoax.
Yeah.
Then they flipped it, say, okay, hydroxychloroquine. Okay, you know what? And I tell people, you know what, guys, if you believe the drug works for you, when I was in Nigeria, use it against malaria. It had different side effects. Some people itch. I never itch. Some people itch. Okay, so if you want, when you have,
and I heard they don't even use it for malaria in Nigeria anymore.
Oh, really?
No,
I think I used it a little bit back then, long ago.
Yeah.
So let me say this. So everybody's body is different. Everybody's situation is different. So somebody might have a specific concussion that they use when they get coronavirus because there's no vaccine, right?
Right.
And you feel better. For another person, that might not work.
Yeah.
Just like the stuff you see on TV at night, you see those commercials. They say, "Hey, take this drug, your life will and this will happen." And then say, "Well, you might die, and you might get it." So you don't know what it will do. So what I tell people, if you want to take it, take it. That's up to you. But I'm not. But for her to say that it's a cure, no, it's not a cure, because guess what? What happened to Herman Cain? Why didn't he take it? All the Republicans that are getting it for hanging out with Orange at his Trump rallies, his staffers, all the people that are they taking it? If you want to take it, take it. But I'm not. But the reason why I really can't take Dr. Stella seriously, I respect her as an African woman, everything, is because she is with the whole MAGA thing, and that MAGA thing to me is they don't go based on facts.
No.
It's whatever they're passing, whatever they're told, that's what they go on.
Right. And they black people. And with Dr. Stella, I mean, I'm sure everybody saw that video about her rebuking a white man that had a mask on, saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," and saying to the white man, "You're not even black. Why are you saying Black Lives Matter?" To me, that is like a messed up understanding. Like, yo, you don't even know the history of black people in this country. And it did not make sense to me. I mean,
because they've been taught that black people are not human, that black people are not children of God, that black people are not worthy of their life, that black people, they've been taught and trained that black people and Hispanic people and immigrants and migrants are not made in the image of God. They're not Christians. They're not holy. They're not worthy of life. So there's that negative attitude. That is why I can't, Dr. Stella, like all due respect, I can't, I mean, God forbid I or you get this thing. I mean, like I said, I just say, if you want to take chloroquine, go and take it. So when I tell people, okay, go take it, they say, well, but why are you telling me? I don't know.
And it's not.
Take it. Which one? People can take whatever they want. Some people take zinc. Some people take C-pack. I know about all that stuff. I have a concussion hammer. I have ginger. I have turmeric in the house. I have all of that. You know what I'm saying? Ginger, turmeric, vitamin C, the packets. I have all of that. I mean, people take what you want, but I really can't take people who are MAGA orange supporters seriously. That's just me. I'm biased. I can't take you seriously if you're pro-life and then you don't care about my life. You say that you're pro-life, but you don't care about Black lives. You talk bad about Black people. You don't care, but you talk. And then she said, "Don't wear a mask." And then I see her on videos where she's wearing a mask, all that demon sperm and all of that stuff. I see that.
And to add to the hydroxychloroquine, here in the States, they use that to cure lupus. So for people that have
lupus, I heard that.
Yeah, and then people that have the lupus that have been taking hydroxychloroquine that have contracted COVID. Yeah, so if it's used as a prophylactic and you got COVID, it's not. You see what I mean? It's not working. But anyway.
But I want to say this before we go to the next. I want to say that for those, if you want to take it and mix it with zinc or mix it with other stuff, it's for your body. Do what you got to do, but don't. I'm not saying don't take it. If you after it's what people do, what you want to do. Do whatever it is you feel is going to make you, because this over 160,000 people are dead in America. So if taking hydroxychloroquine stuff will help you out, or zinc, or C-pack, or tea, or whatever, trust me, God forbid I get it, I'm going to be taking some stuff as well. So my only thing is this:
are you going to take hydroxychloroquine if you get it?
I probably won't. I probably won't. So what I will do, I'll go to my doctor. Because you have to prescribe it, right? So that would probably wouldn't be the first.
It's that easy to get here in the States. It's
okay. Okay, so to best be honest with you, I'm not going to look for it. I wouldn't look for it. I'm just being honest with you. I'm going to look for it. I have, I know a C-pack and all of this other stuff and teas. I probably wouldn't look for it, but I just think, and people think I'm against it. No, the woman, doctor, with all due respect, there's some things that she said, and anybody that's who's MAGA, for me, I can't trust them. I can't trust anybody that supports MAGA, because to me, MAGA means KKK, Nazis, white supremacy. And to me, MAGAs do not have any respect for my life.
Yeah.
And whether if you're MAGA as an African, MAGA as white, MAGA Black, I don't trust you. And I just feel that you do not care about me and mine. If you're against Black Lives Matter, that means you're against my life. So I'm against my family's life. I cannot take you seriously. So the best
defense for COVID right now that we know of is wear your mask. Do not pay attention to anybody saying don't wear your mask. You can always go get because a lot of people don't have the symptoms, so you can always go get the antibody test. I've done 3 so far. My last one I did 3 days ago at CityMD. It's free. The test results will come back in 2 to 3, sometimes 5 days. So just so you know whether you've been exposed to it or not. So,
yes, I did my COVID test actually last week, and it was negative. And what do they call it? They don't use the term negative. They say something else, but it's negative. It's clear.
Yes, clear.
And so I wear my mask all the time. I wear my mask on the track because I go walking and jogging, and I see people without their mask on. Yeah. You got to wear your mask, because there's a way it is like. I think people feel, if I wear it now, I don't care, because guess what? If you get it, nobody, not if your own family can't even come with you in a hospital. You're going to be in the room by yourself. All those people that you're trying to pretend for that you're tough, you're this, you're that. Oh yeah, MAGA. Well, look at Herman King. God bless his soul. Look at him. He was over there, blacks for Trump. Yeah, blacks for just sitting over there saying, hey, yeah, masks are not mandatory. Blah, 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 blah. What happened to him? And you see Trump or anybody talking about that like that, they don't even talk about him. They don't honor him. There's nothing special going on about him. He died for these people. Huh?
They didn't say anything.
They hardly said anything. So have you heard anything on the news about him? They just stopped talking. He just died just like that. Pro-life, conservative. I beg. Can you imagine?
All right.
And he survived colon cancer. So how did this orange convince you not to wear a mask?
Wear a mask.
Like, we're supposed to be intelligent, you're supposed to be educated. How does he convince people to do these things? It's
And
crazy.
the last tweet that Herman Cain sent out, he sent that tweet out about, we're tired of masks. He sent that tweet out the day before he got hospitalized. And that was it. That was his last tweet.
God is trying to tell them something. God is trying to tell them something. He's trying to tell everybody something. That this, but no one is listening. So this man had to die, and they're still not listening. I go out now, you hardly see people. Sometimes you see people with masks, sometimes you don't. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to wear a mask because guess what? The way I see it is none of these people out here are going to be there for me and my family. If something happens to me, I'm going to wear my mask.
I'm going to read a few comments. It looks like people are seeing our broadcast a little bit later than normal, like a little bit delayed, which is okay. But Teron is referring to when we were talking about the different degrees of racism, and he said, I've always been concerned about how we can gain positions to make change when the third degree racists that you speak of and hold these positions. So I guess, our discussion answered that question for him. And Norma is saying, those who are saying don't abort, will they raise the child for the woman?
They will.
Yeah.
They will vote against that child getting benefits.
Yeah.
The people who say no to abortion in this country are the same people who vote against health care for those children, vote against food stamps, they vote against welfare. So let's say abortion is a bad thing. Okay, so why do you vote against the child that was born? So you only care about the embryos and zygotes. And so, yes, they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So abortion, people say, oh, it's wrong, it's bad. I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying wrong. There's some people who are getting pregnant through incest, with their fathers. So, that's disgusting. Rape. So I think a woman has a right to, just like I don't want women deciding how I should do my own body. Women don't get to decide how men do their own bodies. Why are men deciding on what women should do with their bodies? Exactly. Now, to answer the other young man's question, in order to get these positions, this is how you get these positions. We African Americans, we Black people, we Africans, Black, whatever, we're all the same. We need to be more supportive of each other when we are climbing to the top, when we become managers, when we get that next level. We need to hire more people that look like us. We need to go for higher positions. We need to get that education, that certification that's going to get us to that level where we're getting these. But we need to go out and vote in people that will care about us. We want this and that, but we have to vote. We have to vote for people that we can get in positions that will open the door so that we can get in. So you have these NBA stars, you have these musicians, you have all these, everybody's millions and millions. They can create companies and put Black people in charge of these companies. We need to do more for ourselves. That is how you break it in. We need to help our Oyibo or white colleagues understand, this thing that you're doing here is not cool. But how can you do that? We just have to keep trying, man. We got to build one another. I see a lot of tearing down across the board. We got to build up each other. Yeah. If you're an African American and you're a police officer and you're sitting by and watching, you getting you're in fact, how many of you, if you took off your uniform and one of your colleagues pulled you over, would you be shot dead? So we need to think. We need to get more positions of power as far as judiciary, corporate. We just got to keep pushing, Tehran. We just got to keep pushing. We got to look out for one another, and we just got to keep fighting. But I understand where he's coming from.
And Leah is saying Africans have been taught this too. Their countries were colonized, so they don't value their own Black lives either. When we had talked about earlier about how to the unconscious bias, I didn't really name it that, but that's really what we were talking about. And Daniel Coker is saying there's a reason why we have protocols for prescribed medications. People should not self-medicate. Let a doctor prescribe it for you.
Daniel Coker, I agree with you. And I want everybody to understand this. There is a cultish mentality, right? The cultish mentality. I want to say this. If Trump comes out today and tomorrow and says he is the Antichrist, that Satan sent him, he will not lose many followers. Why?
He won't.
Eventually, they will not, because it's a cult now.
Yeah.
So they will forgive him and say, "Don't worry, we forgive you," because he hates who they hate. Anything this man says, they believe. So if he says this drug works, they'll believe it. If he says it doesn't work, they won't believe it. Remember, Dr. Fauci was part of his team before. Dr. Fauci was great. But
Yeah.
as soon as he doesn't like Dr. Fauci, they don't like him. So anybody he likes,
Yeah.
they like. Anybody he loves, they love. Anybody he hates, they hate. If he comes out tomorrow and says he hates his brother, they will hate that person. So now he said this drug cures this, they follow him. I'm surprised they didn't. I think some people went and drank the bleach and stuff that they said they drank.
I think some people did drink bleach at that time, and that's insane. That's really insane.
And the other lady's question, what was, show me her question again.
It wasn't a question, it was pretty much a comment.
Okay. Africans have been taught this too. Their countries were colonized, so they don't value their own Black lives either.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure, because
we do in within our own country alone. Let's say Nigeria, for instance, we have these biases towards different ethnic groups.
Okay, true.
You know, so why is that? It's only recently that we started an Igbo person will marry a Yoruba person. Like, why was that a thing?
That's true.
It's only when we leave Nigeria and come to America that we really see each other as brother and sister.
True.
And we try to get along. So we do have those biases within our own countries that we need to work on. Maybe
that's true.
We need to start working on that first, and before we can now understand the African American experience, the African American struggle.
So we've been taught to self-hate, and so I'm gonna expand on her point. The colonists, when they came, they made themselves look superior.
Yeah.
We accepted them as superior. Yeah. We accepted the color of their skin as superior. And then many of us looked at God as being like them. So you're worshiping these people, worshiping God. God is not white. But unfortunately, a lot of people look to these colonists and got messed up in the mind. We have a women who are bleaching. We have that self-hatred, like, oh, we want to be like Oyibo, we want to chop like Oyibo, we want to do like, and then you talk about tribalism, which I'm definitely against.
That's superior.
Yeah, that mentality. And then one thing that happens in Nigeria, that jungle justice, I could never understand it. I don't know what that is, how a 12-year-old boy can steal from the market because he's hungry, and then you guys will put tire on him and set him afire. That right there, that has to be another topic. I don't understand that. So, but I definitely agree with Leah, Ashley B. You're right.
If a 12-year-old does not have food to eat, if a single mother does not have money to feed her kids, the community is to blame. Shame on you. But what you do instead is to go and burn them with tires. Like, how does that even make sense to you? Whatever happened to coming together and binding as a community? Quite honestly, culturally, that's what we're known for. But we don't do that. I don't even know. I have not experienced that being a thing. But culturally, we've always been told that we, as a family, we help each other out.
Exactly. And to further her point, and I'll stop here, you know how every time, like, look at Rwanda, Hutus and the Tutsis, perfect example. Yeah. How they demonize the other side and call them cockroaches. So that demonization, when we demonize a group of people, you take some stereotypes, some little things, and you try to make it fact. Oh, Yoruba people are this, Igbo people are this, the Hutsis are this, the Tutsis are this, the people from this village are this, people from that town are this, people here, and then we demonize one another, and then that thing seeps in. That's what's going on here in America, and America is divided because of it.
Yeah.
And when you don't see your fellow human beings as human beings, you don't have compassion for them, you don't have empathy for them. I talk about it a lot. It's all in the mind, and we just have to unlearn these things, and we have to learn to appreciate one another, see each other as children of God, see each other as human beings, love one another, and remember there's good, bad, and ugly in every race, tribe, and religion, regardless of it. But she's absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly read through the comments so we can unpack our next question, which is huge. That's about voting. But Leah is saying raw garlic has antibiotic properties. Leah, I can't say that. Something astringent, the lungs and respiratory system. Thyme is antiviral. Red onions is antimicrobial. use your kitchen herbs. You know, I picked up this new habit recently. Whenever I'm cooking, I cook with red onions. I start eating the onions, so like I don't know what it is. I start eating
I
it.
love onions.
No,
Leah, you're correct though. I won't lie to you. Leah, in my house right now, I went and bought raw garlic. Like there's like they look big and grayish, whatever. I bought turmeric, and all the stuff that you're mentioning here. At time, I have all of that stuff in my kitchen.
I have all of it.
Turmeric, garlic. There's some other stuff we got. I can't remember, but and lemon. We got the herbal teas and all of that stuff. So
anything
vitamin C. Okay, forget. A lot of people don't know vitamin C and vitamin D.
Yes.
You got to get the vitamin D. They're like yellow. Get the vitamin D 5,000 ICU. That's what I use, and then vitamin C packets. Right now, when this thing first hit, they weren't in the store. Get the vitamin, the powder, 1,000. I think it's 1,000 milligrams or something. Yeah. So you guys want to have that on hand too.
Anything to boost your immune system. And Uche Evergreen, she says, same here. Any Black person who supports that MAGA is a no-no for me. When was America great for Blacks? The only time Black people were trying to come up was Black Wall Street, and that was burnt down. 1921. Yeah. Norma is saying, meanwhile, the moron that has turned the world that all is in the safety of the White House. Some people have been calling him Bunker B, so.
Yeah, I know. we got to get him out of there, man. We got to get him out.
And speaking of getting him out, let's talk about voting. So states fear that in the effort to contain COVID-19 with the drastic changing, it will bring about drastic change in voting, mail-in or in person. So it might confuse a lot of people. Some people might be unaware or misinformed of how to cast their vote on November 3rd. No matter what happens, we do need to vote on November 3rd. That's a must. What are your thoughts on that, Ogahari? How can people stay up to date on how to vote?
First of all, let me say this, that I live here in Prince George's County, and we did the mail-in vote for the first time. I usually vote in the my voting station is not too far from here, but I said, let me do the mail-in vote this time. Not that it was a big deal. I thought it was the primaries, but most likely when this one comes around, I like to do it physically. My advice is wherever you live in this country, Google the Board of Elections in your county or city and get on the newsletter. I'm going to name a couple of websites here as far as voting is concerned. There's a website called whenweallvote.org, whenweallvote.org. Join that, follow them, maybe join the newsletter. There's rockthevote.org. That's another good organization.
Right.
And then you have the ACLU. Okay, that's for something else. So mail-in voting is not hard. They send you the ballot to your house. You use a pencil or pen. You fill it out.
You have to go to the website to request it. Like go to the.
Really? Because mine came.
Maybe you might.
Maybe not. Maybe now it's changed.
Yeah, you have to go to your state, find out, and then request it, and they'll send it to you. So if you're not getting that, you can start requesting that now. If you don't want to go in to vote, we don't have to expose ourselves to COVID. If you don't want, Harry, I want to go and push the button.
I'm pushing the button myself. Where am I, man? That must be new because mine came in the mail. So that would say the Board of Elections.
The Board of Elections. They'll let
in your county.
In your county.
Yeah, or city, because it's different in every county.
Depends on the states. Every state is different. So find out if your state is doing mail-in voting or if people are showing up to vote. But please, no matter what happens, we all need to vote on November 3rd. It has never been more important than it is now that we vote. Please, please, please. Ogahari, you are heavily... Go ahead.
No, I want to say something about voting. When we vote, it's not just Trump we're trying to get out or whatever. You have to look at your city, your judges, mayors, elected officials, delegates, senators. You have to do your research on who is running. So we're always complaining about the system. We need to put the right people in place for your city, for your state, for your family. If you care about your family, you love your family, I'm sure everybody does. You have to say, okay, if my daughter or son are driving down the road or in this, what could happen to them if they get pulled over? So we have to make sure that we put in the right police chief, the mayors, the legislators. So it's not just Trump.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that all up and down the ballot, we do our research on who is running. And they'll get, and you have times. I believe in early voting. Me and my wife, early voting. You have at least 2 weeks, a week or so,
Before
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Early voting is the best.
Yeah.
Try it, my people.
Yeah. And please, if you've recently moved, that also means that your voting place has changed as well. Please check on that, just to make sure. I moved to New York from the DMV area 4 years ago, and I've been going home to vote, believe it or not. But this time around, I said, you know what? I am going to vote here in New York, so I registered to vote here in New York. So, so please, whatever you have to do, let's make sure we vote this year. It is imperative. Oga Harry, you are one heavily involved man in the community. Like I said, this is one man you want to get to know, you want to be in touch with. Everything grassroots is him. Follow him on his social media pages. I'm going to put it up. It is Uncle Harry Baba. That is your Instagram, and your Facebook is Harrison Wuzo, his first name. But he's heavily involved in the community. What recent projects have you been working on? How can I help? How can we support your efforts?
Well, my recent projects is Prince George's County. I work for the county government. So my job as a community liaison is to facilitate and make sure the community is getting what they need. So I'm kind of like the middleman between the executive branch and then the people.
Okay.
So right now, I'm making sure that the people in the county are getting all the information about food distribution. There's a lot of people who don't have jobs or lost their jobs because of COVID.
Yeah.
They're struggling with bills. They're struggling with bills and mortgage and rent.
Yeah.
So we have organizations and partners, and we have like World Central Kitchen, Capital Area Food Bank, Catholic Charities. I think even Martin's Crosswinds. A lot of organizations that have come together. Restaurants in the area. We have I think even the Indian American Liquor Association. So that's just to name a few. There's a lot of organizations that have come forward that we're partnering with, and with the churches in the community. Now, there's a lot of churches in the community that are hosting. Like when I say host, they're allowing us to use their space or property so that people can come and get their food and go. So we have churches, faith-based institutions working, and mosques and churches working with nonprofit organizations who are also working with. You have the people who are bringing the money. So okay, here, like I think I think there's some organizations that have bought millions of dollars. Say, okay, here, and maybe they might give it to somebody like World Central Kitchen. That guy's a great guy, World Central Kitchen.
Okay.
So they might give him $2-3 million, and he'll just go and buy food, and he'll make thousands of food, and then every day in Prince George's County, I don't know about other counties, every day in Prince George, there's somewhere where you can go and get a box of groceries, a box of dry goods, or whatever. So we'll give him the money, he'll put the food together, and then we'll take it to the churches, we'll pick it up, and then we'll have the police, we'll have our volunteers, everybody just helping out, giving people. So that's what we're doing right now, just making sure that people in Prince George's County can get fed. Also, when people don't have jobs, so Employ Prince George's County have several programs. Employ PG, so you can go online, Employ PG, and you'll go to the website, and they have different programs. The county is also trying to, doing a lot of stuff with people with businesses. They ran something for people who couldn't pay their rent. So I'm involved in that right now. Right now, it's just grassroots right here in Prince George's County. But back in the days, now me and you were down there and marching and protesting.
Yes.
The World Bank. Yes. And what's the other? IMF.
Yeah. So this is something
in the cold.
Yeah, in the cold, and this is something we've been doing for a while. You have
a long time.
Passionate about your community, passionate about people to even do what Hari Baba is doing. So I want to thank him for everything he's doing for the community. I know, I see you on Facebook fighting people, and at the same time educating them.
But people always say, "Hey, but why don't you blog this person? Why don't you blog this person?" I said, "Well, this is you know how you watch CNN, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, and then they have the Democrat on one side, they have the other person. I want people to see both views. So I don't watch Fox News. So when these guys come on my wall, when they speak, they're saying the thing that they watch.
Yeah.
So I learned from them in a way, like even though it's stupid and ignorant, but it's kind of like you learn and then try to educate them.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you try to educate them. So, and I basically do it so people can see both sides. So I just don't want to be a one-way, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody say, "Hurry, but you're right. Hurry, but you're right. You're right. You're right." But I want to at least have one person to come and say, "No, that I can be able to address them in a way to make them see how what they're saying doesn't make sense." Yeah. They always say, "Oh, well, Obama did this. Obama." That's what their best excuse. What they can't answer the question. Well, Obama did this. Obama did that.
Like, what did you do? I mean, everything that he did. What did you do exactly? Yeah, so I'm gonna read a few more comments before we wrap up. And again, like I said, it looks like the comments are coming in a lot.
Let's talk to the people now. Let's talk to the people. We have time.
Yeah, the comments are coming in a lot slower because it's like they're hearing what we're saying way after the fact. So Norma is saying, growing up in my little Nwaogbe village, I don't remember seeing many homeless people because the community took care of you. But today that has changed, and that is a pity. Kua is saying that she loves red onions. And Leah is saying, yes, it's ancestral healing, sis. Oh, she was referring to the things that she listed, the onions and everything. So thank you so much, Ogahari, for to tune in today. And I want to thank everyone that tuned in. Again, people that are tuning in from Nigeria. My cousin said they were tuning in tonight from Nigeria.
All right.
From Ghana, from London. They had to stay up to watch this live. So
thank you all. Thank you all. I hope you guys learned something. My motto is live, love, laugh, and enjoy your life. And like I said, my belief, and people don't understand, people keep calling me liberal, they call me Democrat. I just believe that we're all human beings. I have a right to live and be happy, and I have a right for equal rights and justice. My children have a right to live and I have a right to empathy and compassion for my fellow human beings. So when you look at politics, it's like, okay, so because I want to live and be free, a human being, therefore I'm liberal. I mean, I don't know. We all have to take a step back and look at, okay, forget the Republicans, forget the Democrats, forget liberals, forget conservative. If this thing that you're doing now, is it right? Is it right to hate blacks? Is it right to hate immigrants? Is it right to hate Hispanics?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it right to hate gays? Is it right to hate Muslims? Is it right to hate this person? Is it right to hate that person? Is it right that this person is George Floyd his knee was on his neck? Do you know why that guy put his knee on George Floyd's neck for about 9 minutes? Because he didn't see him as a human being. That is the problem, because we have been demonized. And I want to say something before we go. And hopefully I have it here before we wrap up. A lot of times we're always saying black lives matter. There's two Nigerians that were killed in the past couple of years. I think I wrote it down somewhere.
Killed where? Here?
Right here in America.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. One thing was Chinedu. I think it's Chinedu Kobe. I think
killed by the police.
By the police in California a couple of years ago. He was tased to death. He was he was a Nigerian American. He was Igbo.
Yeah.
And then we have another one a few years ago, and I think it's 2015, Michael in Savannah, Georgia, on New Year's Day. I think it was January 1st, New Year's Day. He was slaughtered by policemen. So I'm just letting people know that Black Africans, we're all the same to these folks. We're all one. We have children in this country, huh?
All they see is color.
All they see is color. So when you come to this country and you talk bad about it, but you're Black too. Bro, we're all Black. We're all Africans. We're all one. We have to understand that we have to put aside this thing that these people have taught us to hate one another. That is why we stay divided. So stop criticizing Beyonce. How ask some of your other artists out there, what are they doing? Right. What are they doing? Yeah. Beyonce is doing what she can. We criticize her. That is deterring other people. Say, well, they see all the criticism she get. Why should other artists try to do anything? or come through. You say, oh, we don't need help. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because you have a nice job, a nice car, and a nice house and everything. You have millions of people in your village thousands of people in your village who are starving, who live in below poverty line. We need all the help we can get. We need to partner with African Americans. We need to partner with people who care about Africa. And like I said, Beyonce, the truth, Beyonce used consultants. She didn't come up with all this stuff by herself. It was us that helped her put that stuff together.
Yeah.
So, my people, love one another, my people.
Yeah. And okay, so I have a comment here by Chica. Chica is saying, I am willing to wait 10 hours on election to make sure he's out. I will come out with my chair, cooler, drinks to make sure not leave the line. I'm going to convince my grown sons to vote. Thank you, Chica. I appreciate that.
Tell your sons to vote. They have to vote. They have to vote. And I agree with the long line and stuff. I mean, like I said, Chica, try and do early voting. Yeah. Early voting is so easy. Trust me. I mean, I know a lot of people like to wait for election day. Early voting is the same thing. Try to do early voting. They should have it. Remember, a lot of people cannot go to vote on Tuesday. They're working this and that and the other, but early voting occurs on Saturday, some places Sunday. I always encourage people to do early voting. We always make it do early voting.
Your employer has to give you time off to go vote too. Don't tell you you cannot. That's your right. They have to let you go vote. Mm-hmm. Norma saying, please do your homework.
Congressional seats
isn't the only thing to pay attention to. There are several congressional seats up for you.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, and Mitch McConnell too. So I'm thinking I might put some money in his. The other lady, I think this lady running against Mitch McConnell. My son has some money.
Yeah,
cash. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he
got to get him out.
Looking like he might lose. Well, I'm hoping he does because we're up to 3 to 4 seats that the Democrats could grab right now. So if people are really on it, we'll be able to get those seats. And Leah saying food is the best medicine. It absorbs better. Thank you for voting info for saying that. And Norma saying, yep, well said, Uncle Harry. So we'll wrap up because we're running low on time. And again, I want to thank you all for tuning in, taking your time out for participating as well. And if you're listening to this on the podcast later, thank you so much as well. I found out today that iTunes gave me the green light to to be on iTunes. So all platforms is the News with Obi. This will live on Facebook. It will live on YouTube. If you want to come back and watching and reshare, it will live on all platforms and now also on iTunes. All are titled The News with Obi. I do this every Wednesday. I bring a guest on to discuss issues happening in our local community and around the world. And just the reason I'm doing this is really to help all of us to stay informed and not inundated with the news because there's so much going on out there. And I really want to help narrow it down for me. I learn from my guests when they come on the show. And it also helps me to let everybody know that we are in this together. We're not
we're in it together.
We're in this together, and the same reason, the same way we are going to get through COVID, we're going to be, we're going to be the ones in the club. If you survive COVID, raise your
raise your hands up.
Raise your hands up. So
we'll survive. We'll survive, everybody. We'll survive.
We'll make it through. And again, like I said, it looks like the comments are coming in a lot slower, but I'm sure when the broadcast ends, you guys will still continue watching. So thanks again for tuning in and be well, be safe, wear your mask, please.
Wear your mask, guys. Wash your hands, wear your mask.
All right.
Do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes to survive. Like I said, I have friends that survived COVID. So everybody just do what you got to do. Yeah. Stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night.
All right. Take care.